Oh my word. All right, here we go. I got speaker notes. Thank you. Okay. Fall off the stage right at the beginning. All right, hi. On Christmas Eve, December 24th, 1968, approximately 6 months prior to the first human steps on the moon, Apollo 8 astronaut William Anders took a very important photograph of planet Earth while in lunar orbit. The photograph was called Earthrise. Armed with the power to change our perspective, this masterpiece became known as the most influential environmental photograph ever taken. Today, together, we are embarking on what I believe, measured in Silicon Valley scale, will be just as influential of a journey. A product launch so ambitious that with all of your support and the support of billions of people around the world, it has the power to change one person's life, and that life is mine. Today, I would like to introduce you to a world-class user experience. Yes, I'm talking about My Spacebook. My Spacebook will have everything from day one. It will have the longest and most restrictive approval process of any app store in existence. It has a cryptocurrency so hyped up that financial regulators are already calling it very troublesome. Oh, and sorry, that last point is actually wrong. Sorry, not data mining. At launch, we will be supporting accounts from 6 major space agencies: NASA, ESA, CNSA, ISRO, JAXA, and the Russia one. So, fellow astronauts, I hope you will join me on myspacebook.info. Can you believe I got that domain name extension? Oh, that TLD, amazing. Don't be terrestrial, be extraterrestrial. Thank you. That's a real site. Check it out. All right. So today we're going to talk about how to own your content on social media. My name is Zach. I did not hear Phil's second introduction, so I have no idea what he said about me. That's fine. Whatever he said, it's fine. I'm sure it's true. I created 11D, the static site generator, and I work for Filament Group. Filament Group is great. We make websites that work for everyone. Performance, accessibility, worldwide ubiquity. It's great. The first thing you might be tempted to do if you're trying to own your content on social media is to create your own social media site. I've shown you today that it is possible. Obviously, myspacebook.info. You can check it out. If you own the entire site, you own all the content on the site. It is an incredible amount of work, as you might not know from the UI of the site that I've built, but it is a lot of work. The other thing you might be tempted to do is buy a social media site. Do I have sound? Audio? Turn it up. Ooh. Okay, sorry. I know this is super unprofessional. Yep. It's our CTO. Yep. Oh wait, no, sorry. Do you know I'm right in the middle of the talk, right? My Spacebook, yeah. Someone made an offer. How much? 15? Wait, what? No, 15. No, we can do better than that. All right, I'll have to call you back. So the talk might also be known as how to own your content on someone else's website. So I built this archive. It's called Zach Leet's Twitter Archive. It's an archive of all my tweets. I'm going to talk about it a little bit today, and how to build this on the JAMStack. Now you might be asking why. If some of you follow me on Twitter, you might have seen the quality of my tweets. Why are they actually worth saving? Is that true? And I guess you have a point. On the spectrum of none to all, in terms of my content that's worth saving, it's more than none. And I would argue that it's more than one unit of content that's worth saving. So really, my content has value to me. I don't know if it has value to other people. That's kind of irrelevant to this project, but it does have value to me, because things that I post on the internet act as like a supplemental brain for me. I've often gone back and looked at my own blog posts. How many people have searched on Google to solve a problem and their own blog comes up, and you're like, oh, I forgot I wrote that. That's nice. And tweets are kind of the same thing for me. And the other thing we have to recognize is that all social media is inevitably doomed, except my Facebook, of course. It will live on forever.
Ring, ring.
Oh, sorry.
Ring, ring. Ring,
Oh,
ring.
sorry. Wait, one more second.
Ring, ring. Ring, ring.
Yeah. Oh, yep. Yep. Oh, 15 million. All right, yeah, we'll take it. Awesome. Do they know that this is just a joke phone call and not actually a real thing? They do, okay. All right, yep, okay, yep. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Beep. All right, wow, what an incredible journey. I'm glad you guys came with me on that. I'm just so delighted to announce that effective immediately, MySpacebook will be ending. Any content associated with your account, it's going to be deleted. And I'm just really, really happy about this transition. Thank you all. Nothing on this world is certain except the death of social media and taxes. Some sites like Vine or Orchid exist in read-only mode where you can't delete your content even if you wanted to. Maybe you know someone that works at the company and might be able to go back and delete it for you manually. MySpace has relaunched a couple of times. Every time they relaunch, it seems like they wipe out previous user data that existed. And Google Plus has shut down and taken everything with them. There's another more insidious form of death that might be at play here. It's kind of a race to the bottom in terms of user experience. We can slowly destroy the user experience in a race, even if we're fumbling around for profitability. Let's show some notifications, right? Give me your location. See some more advertisements. Awesome. This is a big one, right? Give me your cookies. I don't want to show you everything. Let's show you, let's give you a login modal. Get you authenticated. And really this is, let's be honest, it's better on the app. Because it doesn't have all the other junk that we just showed. And I'm absolutely not arguing today that everything on the web should last forever. And I'm certainly not saying that I should host everything that I post on the internet. And I'm absolutely not saying that you should not use cloud services or third-party services, not at a JAMStack conference, right? Okay, yeah. I'm saying that my content should exist on my terms. If I'm done with it, I can delete it, it can go away. If I'm not done with it, it should stick around. I don't want to be beholden to someone else for that. So how do I maintain control of my content? And it all comes back to the URL. URLs are really a public API to everything we post online. And I want to own the canonical URL, the home base for the content. And especially this does not include vanity URLs. You reserve your username on myspacebook.info. Great. Oh, I forgot to launch our shutdown notice. Wait. We're doing it on stage right now. So if you control the full URL, you control the content. Some services allow you to do this better than others. Tumblr is a nice one. You can use a custom domain. Medium used to allow this until they realized that that was giving up too much power. They stopped offering it in 2017. And Netlify, amazing. Obviously, they let you very easily add a custom domain to your site. And I'm not joking around when I say I want Netlify to be the new and improved, future-proof GeoCities. Everybody, get a site, put it on Netlify. It's awesome. They did not pay me to say that. Well, they kind of did because I'm here. Yeah, so we want simple creation for the web. We want to empower people to create their own stuff. And it doesn't really matter what tools you use behind the scenes, right? You could just dump an HTML file up there. You could use 11, you could use Gatsby, you could use Hugo. You could have a CMS backed behind it. But really, it comes down to URLs. URLs are power. Unfortunately, they're also under attack. Pew, pew. AMP is a big one. I know Dave is a big fan of AMP. He was talking really nice things about it not too long ago. So when you click through something on the Google search engine from the carousel, you get this, google.com/amp. That's not the real URL, that's not the canonical URL of the content. They try and hide the domain here somewhere, right here. That's the little domain there, yeah, awesome. But that's really not great. Some more attacks on the URLs, app stores, obviously. You certainly don't necessarily go to a URL to download an app, but by God, if you start at their URL, they'll try and get you to download the app as hard as possible. And I would also argue that the UX of web browsers, especially embedded browsers inside of native apps, have really attacked the URL, minimizing the prominence in the UI. Just a few other quick ones, like us on Facebook. See a lot of that in marketing materials. I would also argue QR codes are an attack on the URL. It's really kind of funny to think of seeing QR codes around, and I don't know who posted this tweet, but they thought of just printing QR code stickers where you could just put it over someone else's QR code and send it to your own site. I thought that was kind of interesting and a nice physical man-in-the-middle attack. And everyone's favorite, America Online keywords. We really love those. Really relevant. This is a super relevant talk right now. So I really love the IndieWeb, and IndieWeb is sort of a people-focused alternative to sort of the corporate, centralized, controlled web, the one that has been sort of espoused by giant internet companies and big social media companies. And I went to an IndieWeb camp last year, and it was really, really kind of nice. Right at the beginning, they went around and everybody demoed their personal site. And I thought that was a really amazing thing. Have your own content, own your own content. Andy Bell has a site called personalsit.es. I don't know how to say that out loud without it sounding super awkward. But its personal sites are awesome. You can go up and put your own site on this, and they have a nice tag there for indie websites as well. But just personal sites are awesome. They are awesome. Here are a couple of my favorite ones that include some IndieWeb stuff. Max Bulk, Matthias Ott, Jeremy Keith, Charlie Owen, Aaron Parecki, and Paul Robert Lloyd have really done a nice job with their sites. But it's not just for personal content, right? You can take these same principles and apply them to your business as well. So Adam Conover is a really big internet presence. He's an internet celebrity, as it were. He used to work for College Humor. And College Humor used to have videos on their site, and fans used to watch videos on their site. And they controlled everything about that experience, and that was great. And then when Facebook sort of came out with their video platform, everybody was very tempted to switch to Facebook video because the viewership metrics were off the charts. And so College Humor switched. There's no way to monetize videos that were on Facebook, but they switched. And this sentence is just burned in my brain. We started posting videos natively to Facebook instead. Why instead? So the holy grail of IndieWeb is a Posse approach. It's called Posse because its initialism that stands for publish on your own site and syndicate elsewhere. So you have the canonical URL, and then you post a copy of that to social media. Jeremy Keith has a really nice setup for this. He has a little widget on his site. He goes to it. He types in what he wants to post on social media. He selects the social media sites he wants to post to. He can include photos. He hits post, and it will syndicate to whatever he wants. Really kind of awesome. So he controls the home base for that content. I've been violating those rules for 13 years. I joined twitter.com in 2006. I have about 27,000 tweets. My website is Zackley.com, established a few months before that. Got about 243 posts on there. So how do I bridge the gap between I have this giant database of existing content that I have not used Posse on. I don't have copies of that on my own site. So there's an alternative approach to Posse they call Pesos, and I did not name these. I'm sorry, they're awkward, they're weird. I don't like them, but they are what exists. I don't want to make a 14th standard. So Pesos stands for Publish Elsewhere, Syndicate to my own site. So the social media site is the initial point of contact, and then I will backfill that to my own site. And Aaron Parecki, one of the founders of IndieWeb, has said that Pesos is really a band-aid for the problem, and I kind of agree with that. But I think it's also a good intermediate step to get me where I'm going, and maybe I'll implement Posse on my site later. So this is just what it's like. I go to Twitter, I post my stuff, and then I get a tweet ID whenever I post a tweet, and then I want that URL to also exist on my own site. And URL parity here is really important to me because when Twitter goes down and ceases to be a service, because all social media is doomed, as we've already established, and with our one data point of my Facebook, it's proved it beyond the shadow of a doubt. I want URL parity between the two sites. So twitter.com, Zachly.com/Twitter. And like I said, when Twitter dies, I want to be able to still easily translate the URLs that I've lost to URLs that are on my site. Jeremy Keith puts it really well. I think he's really talking about web architecture here, not necessarily third-party services, but I think it's also applicable, right? How well does it fail? I don't want all of my supplementary brain stuff to just disappear. So in an ideal world, I would go to twitter.com, open up their source code, and just inject my own canonical rel right into their source code and save it. But unfortunately, they don't allow me to do that. I don't know why. They should. I could really help them with their site. So I'm forced to sort of to make canonical it's more of a state of mind, man. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, I got to change how I think about it. So Zell Liu wrote this amazing article about designing a focus style, and it's awesome. You should read it. It's irrelevant to the point of this talk. But at the bottom, he says, this article was also originally posted on my blog. So if I want to share something, I want to find the home base for the content that the author has established. So if you're sharing links on social media, do the courtesy to the author of finding the home base for the content, finding their idea of the canonical URL, and share that instead. Because it's often a better user experience, and I think it's more tailored to a person's personality too. So now let's build your Twitter archives. All right, let's do it. So to do this, I'm just going to do a quick demo of how to build this in 11D, just to get you started. What I did is I went into my settings. You click through to, account, sorry. I can really read that, as you can tell. You click through your user data there at the bottom. You put in your password, and this is my real password, as you can tell by the clipping there on the text. You hit the download archive button, and they'll eventually give you a giant zip file full of all of your data. And inside that file will be a tweet.js file. Mine is a 31 megabyte JavaScript array, so it's pretty big for just plain text stuff in there. So you'll want to open that up. There's this weird, awkward, variable declaration at the top. I don't know why they're using that. Legacy code, I'm sure. Change it to module export so we can use it in Node. And then it'll be ready for us to use in 11D. How many people actually have used 11D? Oh, wow, that's awesome. All right, cool. And I showed this website to my boss, and his first feedback was, where's the documentation button? So I made it huge. And even if you have a super widescreen monitor, it will be as wide as you give it. And I guess, I don't know, I'm kind of proud of the project because it's really had some really cool sites picked it up and started to use it. A lot of people are using it for personal sites, and some more bigger businesses are starting to use it as well. I don't know if you know these two guys, they kind of have some clout in the performance game. Matthias uses it for v8.dev, and he really likes the build times, really fast. And Alex Russell, noted performance grump, he says that the output is often faster than other sites that he's traced, which I think is kind of cool. And then I don't know who this guy is, but he also thinks it's fast. The other kind of cool thing about 11D is that it's sort of decoupled from the front-end rat race entirely. We don't really have any opinions about what JavaScript frameworks you should use, and we don't tie into one of those. You can use one, that's fine. If you don't want to use one, that's also fine. And what goes in is what comes out. You have full control over the output of the site. So if I go to a site that exists on the web and I try and look at their source code, there's no way for me to know if it's using 11D. It's impossible. We don't do any transformation that says, oh, there's an 11D JavaScript variable there I could use to really make myself really vain so I could see what people are using it. No, there's no way for me to know who's using 11D and who isn't using 11D. And you can also sort of choose your own templating languages. We support 11. That was not intentional, but we support 11 different languages right now, and there are more to come. I'm going to democratize that so I'm not the arbiter of those. And other people have told me, because I don't think I should be able to say that it's simple and approachable, because I wrote most of it. Other people have told me that it's simple and approachable. Nick Weaver, who I just met yesterday, launched this awesome site, University of Wisconsin. That's really cool. I was excited to see that. The CERN World Wide Web rebuild, this site is written in 11D, which I thought was, like, it made my life that a thing that I built exists on a CERN domain. Oh my God, that's amazing. Like I mentioned earlier, it's used on v8.dev. Web.dev also uses it, so a couple Google properties. So let's get back to building our Twitter archive after that minor little 11D sales pitch there. We're going to use one template to build this. And when it comes to 11D templates, my favorite thing is just to use raw JavaScript. So I have a JavaScript class here. If you don't like classes, you can use functions, or you could return a string. You could return a buffer. It doesn't really matter what you return. But if you use a class, it has to have a render function. And that can be async or not async. I'm going to duck down here so you can actually, can you see that here? So render's down there. And then if you want to fetch data, that's the other method. And you can do async here if you want. Everything can be async. What this will do, you can see it's using the pagination API, which is a very clumsy way to say, I want to generate multiple templates from a single template file. I want multiple output files from a single input file. So I've included my tweet.js data source here that I got from my zip file. I want one single output file per iteration of my tweets. And I want to alias that to the tweet variable. And so really all I'm doing here is making, for every single tweet that I posted, it makes one file that exists at that URL. So I get URL parity between my Twitter URLs and tweets on my site. So with these two files, tweet.js and then tweets to file.11d.js, I can now build my Twitter archive. And you don't even necessarily need to do npm install here if you don't want. You can use npx to just run it. And that's what I've done here just to simplify this demo. And kind of the cool thing about this, I was really, I give myself a pat on the back. 27,000 files in 23 seconds, which I thought was pretty good. 23 seconds is still a long time to wait, but 27,000 files, that's pretty solid performance. All right, so it makes, like I said, it makes a file. It generates all these URLs for all my tweets, a single file for every tweet, and it puts it by default in the site folder. And so I can just upload that to Netlify, or I could run this build on Netlify, or I could do whatever I want with it. So really, that's all you need to do to have a canonical backup of all of your tweets. Backup complete. Hey, I've kind of made mine a little bit fancier since then. I have a nice index page that has some stuff on it. I built some extra analytics, so I know like what's my most common emoji, like what swear words do I like to put up, how many accidental AMP URLs have I posted. And really the thing that kind of blew me away here is that 60% of my tweets are replies. So I guess I'm super chatty on there. I didn't realize that before I posted this, or before I built this, but that's fine. And I also made like a highlights page, so I can convince people to follow me based on my like highlight reel of tweets, my most successful tweets. One of the most embarrassing things that I found out from this is that when I looked at my most retweeted people, my most mentioned people, and my most replied to people, every single blacked out name here is a white dude. So that was not good. I kind of confront some things in my life, and I'm also a white dude, so there's like another box there, yeah. Not great, but at least I'm aware of it now, and I can start like not doing that as much, or diversifying the people that I reply to and retweet. So yeah, that was very humbling. Another thing I built was threading, which was kind of nice, backwards and forwards. So I go to a tweet, and it'll show me all of my personal replies to my own tweets. So if I have a big giant thread of tweets that I want, I can make a nice single-page representation of that. I don't include other people's tweets because I don't necessarily feel like I own those. And if people want to delete their tweets, I don't want to maintain a copy of those without their permission. So it's just my tweets on my site. But I do provide links to the replies, so you can get to those on twitter.com. And after I built threading, I posted this tweet, which says, on a static website, no one can tell you use big O of n squared to build it. Because, the code was not the fastest thing for that, but that's one of my favorite things about the JAMStack, right, is that you can have shitty build code, and it doesn't affect your end users. The end users just see amazing performance, right? It's really great. Not necessarily like my proudest moment, but I think it's great. I also built a thing so I could self-host my media. So this is like this is not an unreleased 11D shortcode that's coming. And this is kind of cool too, because it will go out and fetch any remote URL that you feed into it. If it's a local URL, it will just use the local copy. But if it's a remote URL, it will cache it locally on my own site. So I can set a max width on it, so I'm not downloading like these huge images. And I can add I have like a nice duration option here as well. So if I wanted to refresh or get a new image every hour or day or week or month or whatever, I can do that as well. And so I use this on 11d.io, our documentation site for avatars, and so I can refresh those more easily. And for my Twitter images, I just keep a copy of forever because those aren't changing. Because apparently you can't edit tweets. So yeah, this is kind of what it looks like, and it's kind of cool in terms of performance because it will actually go out, download the image, create a PNG, a JPEG, and a WebP version of it, and find the best combinatoric performance versions of those images, and then it will use a picture or an image depending on if it needs to use WebP for the fastest one. I don't know, I was kind of proud of that. And if you go to 11d.io, there's actually 136 images on our homepage for user avatars, and it's only 315 kilobytes total page weight for our homepage. So it's still like really, really quick. And this is, I can edit my local copy of my tweets. Please, and this was like a super successful tweet, and I'm like super ashamed that it exists. But please enter a password that has 6 characters or less. It should be 6 characters or fewer. And that phrasing still feels really awkward, but at least it's less wrong. Fewer wrong. Whatever. All right, so the other thing I can do is show real links, no TCO URLs. I can show new tweets. I can get all my new tweets using the Twitter API, so I don't have to re-download my archive every time. I can hide like and retweet counts. I can make more reliable embeds, because Firefox will actually block Twitter's third-party JavaScript embed. So yeah, 119 kilobyte for theirs and 4 kilobyte for mine, which is kind of nice. And my archive's faster, right? If I build one HTML file with the text of every single tweet on it, and then I compared it to one tweet on a twitter.com site, and the 8.5 megabyte file with all of my Twitter tweets text on it was actually faster when it comes to first meaningful paint, which, yeah, that's not great. All right, and also I maintain the right to be forgotten-ish. Like, if I want, since I maintain a local copy of all my tweets, I could go back and delete all my old tweets from twitter.com and not be necessarily beholden to the specter of the Twitter search engine that seems to be haunting people lately. So really, all of this comes back to control. We want to maintain creative control. Hosting our content allows us to do that. Getting our own local copies of our social media content allows us to do that. I can edit my content, right? I can delete my content if I want. And I maintain full UX control. So really, it's all about taking back control from social media companies and having my own control of the content. And JAMStack really empowers front-end developers to do that, and I think that's really cool. And if you want to build this, I really love this quote from Matthias. He says, don't do it like me, do it like you. Thank you.